Hi there, I'm Ahsan Ali A. Shaw, and you are watching me on YouTube and Facebook Live, and also in the Facebook group. And today we are going to talk about time. What is time? How does time work? And the mystery of fleeting time. When we say time, time has an irreversible nature. It can only move forward, as far as we know, according to the current knowledge and the knowledge we have, and or it could be some other nature. Many people disagree with it, but uh, let's say I'm talking to you and you are listening to me and watching me, and we are connecting with each other at this particular moment, and this moment will never come back again. And when you say this moment, the present time, I don't personally, if you ask me, I don't understand the mystery of present time because the time we haven't seen is the future. Whatever is past in our memories is the past. The present is moving with every second. It's like a wheel is moving, going back and forth, going back and forth. But we can understand the future or the past. The present, it doesn't make any sense to me. Or if it does make sense to you, please leave it in the comment box. That what is the present time? And to address this question and to discuss this topic with about time, I've got a very special guest. He is a architect, Adrian Sortino. He has joined us from Footscray, Victoria, Australia. Hi,
How are you,
Adrian.
Ahsan?
I'm doing good. How are you?
I am very well, sir. Very well.
Okay.
Very well.
So, what is time and how does time work? How do you see it?
Well, in the physical place of where we are at this point in time, time has
Mhm,
been our measure, so to speak. We have had to
mhm,
conform and put ourselves out of our own situation to be part of a schedule of time,
mhm,
because that is what that is made up of in this realm.
mhm,
The day will still be the day if there is no measure of time to it. It will
mhm,
still do its process as it does. A
mhm,
bird will still sing at 4 o'clock in the morning because
mhm,
that is what it does. The whole
mhm,
construct of the validity of time in our experience is to
mhm,
maintain that we conform to where we need to be as part
mhm,
of the establishment's management of time.
mhm,
You're speaking about present,
mhm,
past, and future.
mhm,
So, past is an energy that continues
mhm,
to move forward. Energy does not stop.
mhm.
In the past, you are presenting that of the past by being tied into the past.
Just like our memories.
Correct. But
Yes.
and that is in that third realm of existence, the third
Mhm,
dimension, because
mhm. So,
adjustments of
uh,
self. Yes, sir.
okay, you said dimension, the third. Many scientists declare, they say that time, they consider time is the fourth dimension of time and space, and the space or whatever the math they use. And you are saying it is the third dimension. How do you, is it from a philosophical perspective or something else?
Well, everything's a philosophy.
Mm-hmm.
Everything is an extension of a philosophy, because a philosophy is a moment that is created to discuss via a conversation where you find yourself
Mm-hmm.
and experience it in a greater element of comprehension as you sit with others and you philosophize about it
Mm-hmm.
and you push the boundaries of understanding and
Mm-hmm.
comprehension to see that it is flawed, that there
Mm-hmm.
is There is a structure behind all of that. If we talk about fabric, if we talk about fabric for a moment, and the fabric of time, the word fabric means that it's been constructed, means that there is something there that we fit within. Now, if that management of time, that introduction of time, was placed in by an establishment that wanted to control time, everybody then has to meet that measure, don't they? Because they have then set the benchmark of what the relevance of time is. To talk about several 100,000 light years, nobody's lived on the planet that long.
So how
To
do
talk,
you how do we know the light years if no one has lived that long? So how do we know the existence of the light years of space?
well, because that's the story that they've told us. So during our whole journey, we've had to believe what we've been shown, what we've been told, what they have exaggerated or claimed. So therefore, in our journey of time, we have only been a sponge that has continually been squeezed and just let go to let everything out and then absorb again. The whole construct of what time is the moment that you actually arrive in the understanding that you are the most important person in your time.
So what is the time? Okay, forgive me
No,
to disturb.
it's
Okay,
fine.
and the third dimension of time you were going to talk about.
Well, the third dimension of time is where we are. So we
Mhm,
are in the third dimension now. This whole
mhm,
storyline is in the third dimension. We are talking
mhm,
about ascension in the fourth to fifth to the sixth to the seventh to the 12th dimensions.
mhm,
Okay. None of that's going to happen whilst people are still working under the measure of time in
mhm,
regards to time is of essence. Time is
mhm,
of this. Time is an exaggeration.
mhm,
If we stopped our breath now
mhm,
and restarted it, it's a moment of
mhm,
creation.
mhm,
Therefore, it negates the timing of life, because the
mhm,
choice has then been put upon yourself to control
mhm,
that element of time within you.
mhm,
Now, when you are critiquing yourself, when you are going through the journey, you are trying to remain in a space that your vibration does not change, because you
mhm,
understand that it is energy. So yes, we
mhm,
do rush around. Yes, we do meet roles and responsibilities that we have to do. Like today, I had to be on here at 12 o'clock. I'm not a morning
mhm,
person.
mhm. I'm a
We do
morning
those
person.
things. We
Mhm,
do those things because it is what we are deciding to do and where we are putting ourselves. The measurement of time in regards to the man-made story and its functions,
mhm,
like the machinery that they use to allocate how many years something is sat there in a rock bed doesn't
mhm,
exceed 2,000 years. The calibration
mhm,
of their machinery does not go further than 2,000 years. So it is all a story of millions of years ago when they talk about what was here millions of years ago. It is a
mhm,
hypothetical because nobody was there firstly. They are going off
mhm,
a measure of where it lied within it, where those fragments lied within the soil of where they found them. And because of
mhm,
where they believe through science the planet has gone,
mhm,
they justify it through that. So
mhm,
there's always been a complete manipulation to what time is in essence. Time
mhm,
is one thing, one
mhm,
thing. It is a
mhm,
moment. And it's whether or not you choose to carry that moment in living peace and going through the
mhm,
journey, or you choose to carry the moment of what the time is in the construct of what you learnt.
mhm,
Everything is a contradiction, Ahsan. This is why
mhm,
the planet at this point in time is doubting and casting judgment, because it's finding itself in a place where it's pushed into a corner. The whole of humanity is pushed
mhm,
into a corner because not one voice is being heard. And if it is, it's in a voice that's being called disruptive.
mhm.
because there has not been any cleansing. There has not been any understanding to the importance of you.
Mm-hmm.
Time has taken the importance of us away from ourselves because we are always subject to being somewhere else rather than
Mm-hmm.
where we originally want to be. In your own
Mm-hmm.
vibration, I am talking about.
Mm-hmm. One thing we can all relate to is time. And if you ask me about my life, whatever is past, and if I ask you about your life, then the only way, the simplest way to explain it is just, sure, it's just gone. And this fleeting nature of time, that uh, that if we are going through something different, if we are going through a traumatic experience or something, a majestic experience, then the time gets slower. On the other hand, if we are going through, if our life is going as normal, then time would simply pass, just like the casual time. But if we are going through something different experience, then time gets slower. So how would you see this time dilation and the time going fast? And when we look back in our lives, then we don't see the this length of time. We just think that it's just a few moments.
Yeah, you're right. You're right. And a huge proportion of what you were talking about there is the the motto "time flies when you're having fun."
Mhm,
Yeah. Now, if
mhm,
time flies when you're having fun,
mhm,
and there is really no essence of time as you are in that space of fun. Let's talk about fun being love. Let's talk about something that it is you wanting to do. Therefore,
mhm,
any other thing that you arrived with
mhm,
means nothing because your whole actual existence is that moment. And you are
mhm,
carrying on that moment. And that's why it's fleeting away. That's why it's flying. And before
mhm,
you blink your eyes and that beautiful moment has gone.
mhm,
Okay.
mhm,
Then look at the other 9/10 of the moments in which we carry in this lifetime.
mhm,
And it
mhm,
has passed quickly. It
mhm,
has passed very quickly in the measure of time.
mhm,
But in the essence of what it has been as an experience, it has been
mhm,
exhausting.
mhm,
It has been exhausting because there has not been the element of time fleeting in that of enjoyment. It has always been a place of finding enjoyment in the time that you have been allocated to survive within this timeline.
mhm,
And if you have been broken as a result of being in the timeline within time, you
mhm,
are only then searching for joy within yourself, and it then becomes another fleeting moment as you exhaust that momentum continuously.
mhm,
Appreciating that the moment of time is the breath in which you hold, and that every moment of time that is your breath is an
mhm,
opportunity to change or arrive in the highest of vibrations that you know that you carry by
mhm,
extinguishing all of the former notions of what time meant.
mhm. So what
You
is the
didn't,
present time?
what
What
is the
is the
present
present?
time?
Mhm,
Everything that you have pre-sent in an emotion, in a feeling, in a narrative is right here. If you decide it to be right here, right now, in the present, pre-sent to present.
mhm,
Future is only where you are going to be momentarily as you
mhm,
decide that your present moment is continued.
mhm,
Stepping inside and outside of time is a commitment that we've done to ourselves, all of it, the whole
mhm,
life. Because if
mhm,
we appreciated what the essence of time was with tick tock, tick tock, tick tock,
mhm, mhm.
with every tick, there is a tock. So you know that there is going to be a change from the very first tick to the second tock. So it's
So
always a continued momentum.
if it is going TikTok moving forward like a wheel, like the needle of the clock, if it is moving forward, so I
Hmm.
understand the meaning of present time because every moment. We are even getting every moment we are getting into the future. We are going into the future, and the fleeting time that has been passed is the past. So what is the present time?
Well, the present time is when you decide that it is the
Mhm,
present time and you decide your actions in this present moment, knowing
mhm,
that the actions of energy, the actions of you, is
mhm.
ultimately why your story is the way that it is at this moment.
So you mean to say that whatever I decide right now is the present time?
Yeah. The moment that you breathe is the present moment. The
Mhm,
moment that you catch yourself breathing, that you hear
mhm,
yourself breathing, is the
mhm,
present moment.
mhm.
Everything else
So,
is a movie. Everything
mhm,
else is a illusion for you
mhm,
to partake within or
mhm,
not within. And
mhm,
that's the deciphering of where you are valued within your present moment.
mhm. Then, if I decide, if I breathe in the present moment, the breath I'm taking or you are taking is the present moment, then isn't the time very short?
Sorry, say that again.
If I am breathing, if the time is the present moment or the time you decide, and I'm breathing is the present moment, and you are breathing, and we are connecting with each other at this particular moment in time, then uh, then isn't the time very short?
Yeah,
The moment.
time is nothing. Time is
Mhm,
nothing if the moment is not continually carried.
mhm,
If time is
mhm,
not respected within the moment of which it is,
mhm,
then it's always going to be fleeting because you do
mhm,
not know how powerful an identity that you are because
mhm,
you are not remaining within that constance of presence.
mhm,
Present. You are not in that present moment. You are stepping in,
mhm,
stepping out, talking about things that happened last night,
mhm,
2 weeks ago, a month ago.
mhm, mhm,
Yeah, it was an experience.
mhm,
Does it mean that you need to
mhm,
detract back to there?
mhm, mhm,
No,
mhm,
no, because it
mhm,
takes away from the present moment. It takes away from that moment of creation.
mhm,
And what it does, it actually solidifies that creation is happening because you are exaggerating the actual power that you have by not being integrally honest with yourself. So you
mhm,
can walk away from chaos at any point in time. You can
mhm,
continue to go down that path of chaos. This is all time,
mhm,
it's all energy.
mhm,
Okay. Now, if we're focusing on time, we are focusing on something that we see as an energy. We
mhm,
see it as a place of representation in our lifestyle, in our
mhm,
storyline. Now, whether or not we purge that or cleanse that or purify that to understand in a rationale of us, because we
mhm,
never created any of these things, we
mhm,
are only having to survive within them. So, if we categorically understand what time means as one moment,
mhm,
you can then adjust yourself accordingly to represent the truest version of yourself.
mhm, mhm,
Everything is up to the individual person to decide whether or not they are going to continue on this pathway of destruction upon themselves in irrelevance of what time is doing, or actually consider that time is completely irrelevant
mhm.
and
There,
justify your actions of higher vibration by representing the truest of you continuously.
mhm. There's one more thing. I think we should make the topic a bit interesting for our viewers uh, about consciousness, time and consciousness, because consciousness it has the ability or is something uh, that has the ability, just like our brain, is 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 creating something intangible that we call it consciousness. Our thoughts. Yesterday we talked about we were texting, and I asked you about live going live, and you said yes. And the moment you said yes, and I asked you, and this moment is happening right now. which means our mind has created this moment. So
No,
how do
no,
you
it
see?
doesn't. No, no,
Mhm,
no, it doesn't. Not our mind. I'm not cutting you off.
mhm,
Not our mind.
mhm, mhm.
Look
It's
at it. Look
conscious.
at it as everything is
Mhm,
energy. Consciousness is
mhm,
energy.
mhm,
Okay. And when
mhm,
you find yourself open to
mhm,
receive, like we
mhm,
all do, our whole
mhm,
life is open to receive that abounds us
mhm,
into a place of where we are right, where we are going on our own journey. Okay.
mhm,
Before we even detract from being part of a chase that
mhm,
we landed in and
mhm,
talking about now.
mhm,
So consciousness has existed far before time.
mhm,
Okay. Time was put in as a program measure to actually create a space of instability for people to search over very many means to find one outcome:
mhm,
consciousness.
mhm,
Okay. So now with that in mind, when you arrived yesterday asking me about that, that
mhm,
vibration has already existed for several weeks now because we've done a couple of meetings. So it is within the present to be that
mhm,
present continuous. The
mhm,
understanding and rationale of the energy associated to something like this, as opposed to sitting there and posting 25 posts on Facebook,
mhm.
there, there, there's no comparison because
Okay.
the energy that you and I speak, the energy that we
Mhm,
are talking about,
mhm,
eliminates time in the very presence,
mhm.
slowing
So
down the tick tock.
mhm.
Yeah,
So it wasn't the consciousness; it was the energy that made it happen.
it is. It is the energy because everything is energy. Everything is energy. If I get a piece of paper, if I
Mhm.
get a piece of paper and go like
Thank
that,
you, Melissa.
that's energy. Yeah,
Mhm,
that's kinetic energy moving in the way that it does. Everything
mhm,
is energy. So our words are energy. Our very
mhm,
breath is energy.
mhm,
Deciding that you are going to maintain the highest energy of yourself,
mhm,
then you
mhm,
subject yourself to those willingly to be thrown
mhm,
everywhere, to be put
mhm,
into every situation. And it's it's okay because
mhm,
you are journeying through this experience yourself as you are recognizing
mhm,
that time is
mhm,
only a measure of you.
mhm,
It's only a measure of you because if you are going to actually put the
mhm,
time in to you,
mhm,
everything
mhm,
else is effortless. You
mhm,
consider everybody else for who they are and where they have arrived from.
mhm.
And you will only
So,
try to engage in the space of understanding the element of living peace within your
mhm.
journey.
So, what is the connection between time and consciousness or the energy? Or they
Well,
are all of them are interrelated and interconnected?
well, nobody created consciousness. We all
Mhm,
created consciousness.
mhm,
Nobody created. Not one person created life. It
mhm,
was all of us together. One
mhm. So,
person, one
mhm,
team created
mhm,
time as a
mhm,
measure. Okay.
mhm,
So if we've created two components of a three component party and one component has been made by one
mhm,
person,
mhm, mhm,
it is it is then debatable whether or not the intended version of that time equivalent is actually in the same scope of what those two other outcomes are that have been created by a multitude.
mhm.
Yeah.
So, in other
Time
words,
is
we
time
can.
is to time is to restrict. Time is
Mhm,
to restrict in the capacity of, oh, I'm 46, I've not done anything with my life.
mhm,
It's a limitation because the story has always an ending. The story
mhm,
always has an ending. I can't do this no more. Oh my God, how
mhm,
long is this going to go on for? It's the
mhm,
moment that you take away that you are breaking from time and deciding that.
mhm. So one thing that we all of us we are connected with consciousness, with the energy of consciousness, and this energy is this energy is the time or is something else?
Well, as I said, time is inclusive because it's part of our narrative.
Mm-hmm.
Therefore, in the limited understanding that we arrive with, it is part and
Mm-hmm.
parcel of the whole gamut.
Mm-hmm.
Now, consciousness has been there well before time,
Mm-hmm.
and they are trying to backpedal those organizers of time, those fillers of storylines, to bring
Mm-hmm.
element to bring elements together that associate time as a
Mm-hmm.
reflective of what we do. It's not.
Mm-hmm.
It's not. Because if it was a reflective of what we do true within heart, then we wouldn't do it to ourselves continuously.
Mm-hmm.
Time is an illusion, like the rest of the story is a contradiction.
Mm-hmm. Time is an illusion. I think, isn't it a contradictory statement?
Yeah, it is. It's straight away a contradiction because it's an illusion.
Mm-hmm.
The more that it's fragmented, the more that it's justified 100,000 million light years away, speed of sound, blah, 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 all of these things. It's
Mm-hmm.
detaching from it's actually maintaining a level of physical in this
Mm-hmm.
third dimension, as opposed to understanding the energy in which we are, to
Mm-hmm.
appreciate that time is something that we need to consider upon ourselves to find the
Mm-hmm.
best of ourselves, not
Mm-hmm.
time to meet obligative stories that need to be composed by other people.
Mm-hmm. Time is the breath we are taking at this moment, at this very moment. Uh, it's just beautiful, and it is very short if we understand the life, if we understand this concept of life and time.
Yeah, it's
And
it's
yeah,
magical. It's
mhm.
magical.
And when we add this element of consciousness, then it becomes even more beautiful. Even it becomes more magical that our time, our consciousness, and we all of us, we are connected with consciousness, and it has the ability, it has the power to visualize uh, the universe and the thing we cannot even imagine at this very moment.
Ah, at this moment, sir, we have so many things that we need to comprehend. We're not going to
Mhm,
comprehend any of it until we comprehend who we are and
mhm,
why we are feeling all of these different emotions, why we are feeling all of this chaos, why are we feeling all of this love.
mhm,
Taking a moment to establish the measure of time within you, to
mhm,
see the cycles, the peaks, the shallows, the adjustments
mhm,
that you actually have to meet within your own element of survival. The
mhm,
rest of the time that is written, the rest of the time that populates every second, is not respected in you anymore, because it has
mhm,
never respected you for what you were doing. It was
mhm,
always there to manage you, to be on a
mhm.
chase, so you never ever found your consciousness,
So
that
we
you
have a
never ever found the collective
mhm,
of half a world away and speaking to the same dynamic.
mhm. Please check out this comment from Stephanie, and it's very interesting. So when person astral project, time is non-existent rift. Check it out. Can you read it?
So when person astral project projects when person astral projects time is
Mhm.
non-existing, is that rift or right?
I think it should be rift.
Rift or
Or
right? Or is she asking a question, or
okay.
not? So um well, look, everybody astro travels, and that's many different variations of how people perceive
Mhm,
that to be happening.
mhm, mhm,
No, there is no time. There is no time there.
mhm. Right,
Time
right, right. Is the right not rift? Is right.
yeah. There is
Mhm,
no time there. There is no
mhm,
time there. It's the opening and the connection, the calibration of a moment that you are stepping into the truest element of you to actually do those things, to do
mhm,
those superhuman efforts.
mhm.
because none of us are jumping over buildings, none of us are feeding, none of us are making lightning bolts coming from our hands, because time has allowed that to be a part of our demise in the suppression of what we are able to accomplish as beings
Thanks,
of light.
Melissa. Mhm. Melissa, love this topic. Thanks, Melissa. Okay, when we say the time, you said time doesn't exist in the space or in the universe. What do you mean by that?
Well, there's no one sitting there with an
Mm-hmm,
hourglass out in the middle of
mm-hmm,
space going, oh,
mm-hmm,
wow, I hope they get this all done and dusted by
mm-hmm,
tonight,
mm-hmm,
because seriously, the world will blow up.
mm-hmm,
There's nobody out there saying that in the universe. There is
mm-hmm,
nobody out on any other element of any other
mm-hmm,
planet looking at us or feeling the consciousness of what this is as a collective and saying, oh, wow, it all comes down to time now.
mm-hmm, mm-hmm,
Yeah. Time's out of our
mm-hmm.
control. But no, no,
Thanks,
no.
Jesse.
Time is a
Mm-hmm,
space that is of ignorance when you
mm-hmm,
put yourself in there, because it doesn't protect you.
mm-hmm,
It safeguards you from experiencing a truth like no one else.
mm-hmm. So we have a comment here. Just check is I think is interesting. Let me hear from Stephanie. Check it out.
Correct. You're asking that is why some are able to travel wherever and whenever. Exactly right.
Mm-hmm,
The extension of self is only a connection of where you have been already. Okay,
mm-hmm,
the things that you are doing, the things that you are seeing, you are doing that anyway. The moment that
mm-hmm,
you open your eyes to what
mm-hmm,
time does, you then see the
mm-hmm,
charade in which time is.
mm-hmm,
And basically, from that, the justification leads you down a pathway of either perfection or devastation. Either
mm-hmm,
of them are both the same. Both are the same. It's just how you're measuring it as a result of where you are putting yourself in the equivalency of time, and what you
mm-hmm,
are putting yourself in and subjecting yourself to as a result of you confirming that time is something of the necessary um, surrounds for us to survive.
mm-hmm.
The
Uh,
future past now is perceived in the mind. When you
mm-hmm,
choose to view places, their presence. Exactly.
mm-hmm. I
Exactly.
think we have discussed this. It's the breathing that the moment in which we are breathing is the present time, and it's very short. And if you look at from the metaphorical and philosophical perspective, then it's beautiful. And the memories we have in the past is the perception. Is the perception, or and the time which hasn't come is the future.
Well, look, you've got
Mhm,
reason and
mhm,
you've
mhm,
got reason and you've got reality. Okay.
mhm,
The reality of what we've lived through in this lifetime is the
mhm,
reason why we actually do what we do,
mhm,
why
mhm,
we maintain that safeguard, that security blanket of us.
mhm,
Okay. Because it's us that we're protecting at this point, as well
mhm,
as the others that come in with that are in the same place of understanding within their own journey of growth and evolution.
mhm,
So um, we'll always use time and then contradict the relevance of time because we exploit it.
mhm,
We will never consciously give 100% solace to energy because we are that intertwined with a story of confusion and trying to debate what time is as opposed to consciousness, trying to
mhm,
debate where is love in all of this chaos and hate,
mhm,
because that's the game that they designed for us to arrive within. Otherwise,
mhm,
we would have been sitting in consciousness before internet was even developed.
mhm,
All
mhm,
of these things have been put in place to subject us to a separation.
mhm,
And having no concept of time
mhm,
is understanding the worth of you, because
mhm,
you will give somebody 5 minutes, you will
mhm,
give somebody 3 hours because
mhm,
of that vibration of energy that is associated to who you are as a reflection. If it's outside of your comfort zone and there's abuse and there's anger and there's chaos, you can transmute that. You can transmute that if you are sitting within the space of oneness.
It's very interesting, this comment. Time only matters because humans have manifested it too.
We've had to. Ahsan, you were late for work today, mate. We're going to have to dock you. We're going to have to take 15 minutes off your pay. Okay? Oh, Ahsan, I know you've worked a 12-hour shift, but I really need you for another couple of hours. So can you stick around for another couple of hours? Yeah? Oh, Ahsan, I know that you were supposed to come in at 3 o'clock this morning. Yeah, and I know it's 2:45, but really we don't need you to come in today. Where in all of that have you managed your time? Where in all of that have you represented in the highest presence of what you were doing? It was always determined by an outcome that was outside of your control. Now, if that measure comes from those that you support, if that measure comes from those that you aspire to be like, that is where you take the moment and you consider the validity of why you were there and what it is about and what time does as a healer or a detriment in a second. Does that make sense?
Yes, it does. Time is fleeting and time is in the moment and time is the energy if from the not
Well,
from the
time and look, the easiest outcome, time is your control. When you decide to own time, you watch what you do with it, as opposed to when you considered that you were just part of it.
It's a bit complicated topic, and I think we whatever we have discussed is more than to digest, and I think we should discuss it a bit more and some other topics in the future. And we have discussed from the we have added the element of consciousness and energy, and to understand the concept of the concept of time and how does time works and the mystery of fleeting time. And my brain just went on. Yes, yes, yes. And thank you. I think we have discussed enough for this because it's a bit complicated topic. Because
Yeah, all right. That you're funny. It is a very, very, very deep rabbit hole.
it's a very
And
mhm. Okay.
yeah, I think that it's a great comparison to justify who you are at this point in time, Ahsan. So thank you so much for wanting to open that can of worms and bring it up. Because time is our own creator. We are the creator of time in our own existence. Therefore, we control what happens within our time.
The only true time is the present now. Any
Exactly.
other time is in thought, imagination. Okay, so I think
Exactly.
yes, indeed. Yes, indeed, Will. You're right. And time is the present moment. Our memories or the time hasn't come. It's just the breath we are taking is the present time. I think I found my answer today. I've always wondered that what is the present time, because personally, if you ask me, and I don't understand the meaning of present time, because either the clock is moving forward, it is moving forward, and our memories are the past. The time which hasn't come is the future, and the breath we are taking right now, and we are connected with each other. This is the present time, and I think that's it for today.
Okay.
We should,
That's
yeah,
it. Yeah.
yeah.
Look, leaving it on that, Ahsan. Time
Mhm,
is present time is the
mhm,
moment that you see how magnificent you are.
mhm,
Okay, because if we go back to when you first started doing these sort of videos, you made a moment in a breath to actually do this because you feel as if you had a voice that was able to appease that confusion within a population of people around you. So you consciously made that choice to actually own the existence of time and manage the existence of time with your role and responsibility of what you found that you were able to achieve. If the rest of the planet did that in a heartbeat, the whole world would change in a second because they would be consciously aware of their actions. Therefore, they wouldn't be creating an echo chamber of managed time that has already been in their place. They would consider their actions before they open their mouth and justify it by being present and continuing to evolve, continuing to grow, continuing to develop the actual love that all this takes. That's all.
Any other questions, guys? Thank you, Melissa, for sharing it in different groups, and thank you, Jesse. Thank you, Will. Thank you, Stephanie, and other people. And
Thank you, everybody, for arriving.
Yes, and if you have any questions, just leave it in the comment box. Right now, if you want to discuss more, then two of my favorites. Yes, thank you, Gary. Thank you so much. Gary has just joined us right now. Gary is here, and we
hello,
have
Gary.
discussed. Yeah, we have discussed a very interesting and a bit complicated topic, time, because it is a mystery. It has always been a mystery, and it still is a mystery, even though we have discussed it from different angles, from the consciousness, from the energy, and the time itself, and momentary from the philosophical perspective. And but there are still many questions like the space, the time of the universe. Is our time dependent upon the space or independent from the space time or from the universe time? Uh,
It's a hypothetical. It's all. It's everything that we're trying to work out. Will the sun die down? Will the sun? Will the sun stop firing its fireball? Will this happen? Will that happen? Will that happen? Everything is a measure of energy. Now, if your energy is fixated on a space of trying to justify as opposed to experience, the world can end today. There is no relevance. There is no relevance because you're not considering the truth of your vibration. You are not considering the purpose in which you have now found yourself with in that present moment. That's the fleeting of time. When you consider your worthiness, when you consider how magnificent you arrived as prior to all of this, when you were first born, that is the element of fleeting time, because you've considered that you are more than what you are, yet you are unable to change it because of whatever reason. And we always try and justify, how come this is? Where did the Big Bang happen? Why is this? Why is all of that? Nothing that they've told us is true. They say that mountains are mountaintops, where they're not. They're actual petrified trees. Yeah. So there is an imbalance in what we perceive as real. Therefore, the reason why is only misconstrued because we have no understanding, because nothing has been felt. We are not able to speak against something of the establishment because it's not condoned. We aren't able to do it in schooling when we are actually innocent and ask those questions, because then that is not part of it. We're a chaotic student. So the whole measure of everything, Ahsan, has been planned and portrayed and manipulated and delivered for us to not even have this conversation. But we have gone against the grain of that in the choice that we actually arrived in a moment of present to say, okay, I know I can do that. I can continue to do that. I can continue to be that very existence in myself, irrespective of what the rest of the world is doing. Because in the contrast of 7.8 billion people, nobody's doing anything. Because if it's taken a little bit or a small group to manage what this all is now, we are doing nothing. We're sitting there like the audience, or we're sitting there like members in characters in a bar that don't even have a title within the movie. We're just the guy on the left-hand side of the bar, guy on the right-hand side of the bar. We don't even have a name. We don't even have an identity that goes past that moment, because we're choosing not to take control of that moment and consider the magnificence in which we are. Time is fleeting. Time is fleeting, most definitely. Time is fleeting for you to find what your truth is. And that's okay.
Yes,
Because the
indeed.
moment that you detach from that, time comes back. You've got as much time.
Yes, we are the extras. And
No.
I think
We are the extras. Yes, we are the extras, but we are the lead players in this role. We are you are the main character in your movie.
Yeah, or is it our perception that we are the main role? Are we the main roles? Because every person in history, in time, in that particular moment, think that thinks that he is the main player, but it is our just perception, and we
No.
all have.
So okay, let's talk about if there's anything real in history. Let's talk about the Greek gods. Yeah, the Hercules, the Aphrodite, the all of those people that did superhuman activities or acts, superhuman acts to be known now, eons later, years later. Was it to the full entirety of what it was? No, nothing has ever been. But did they actually physically do that? Yes. Why? Because they stepped outside of where they found themselves in that one moment to see something different within them. So the moment that you do that, the moment that you see a righteousness of self with the re-empowerment of something that was never really handed to you, and say with grace, and say, you deserve this. Everybody deserves the space of understanding that they are so much more than what their storyline is saying. Yet we don't get to contemplate that in any way, shape, or form of validity, because the barrage of contempt against us in a life comes from even the people that we most love. Because they are going through their $7.8 billion involvement journey. There is that many voices not being heard now, Ahsan. Think of that energy that is not being dealt with, that is actually only stemming or fueling the current establishment's storyline, because our voices aren't being heard. We do not have any worth. We have no comprehension of what consciousness is as a collective, because we are only finding it now within our own space of consciousness to actually step away from the storyline and justify who we are. We haven't found nobody yet, because nobody will align with you in regard, or the planet won't align with itself, because it's disputing against itself with the 7.8 billion stories that have been put into a bubble during this time.
I think we can all agree on one thing: the time is the only constant in life.
If you want to say it like that, yeah. Like,
So
to even
how would
like
how would you
I would
say
eliminate the use of time. I would eliminate the use of time. In the fundamental of what time does. Okay, so if I say time to you, what do you instantly think of?
this particular moment that in which we are breathing right now? For
Okay,
me,
so let's take it.
Mhm. It is
Well,
the
let's take
time.
it. Yeah, well, let's take it 49 minutes back, and say, and what is time to you there? 49 minutes back before this call.
Is the past.
No. What you were feeling as what time meant 49 minutes ago. Our rationale on time. You put a post up. You put a post up and
Okay.
said, I'm here,
Mhm,
I'm ready.
mhm. I think we can say the time is the movement of the planet, and the clocks we have created, the humans, we have created clocks to measure our existence here on Earth. For me, it
Okay. Yeah,
is.
yeah, cool.
Mhm,
Perfect. But
mhm,
what about
mhm,
if we then said time is a measure to
mhm,
keep us controlled
mhm.
by
Time
the
is a
organizers
measure.
of time?
Time is a measure to keep us control. It is a good construct and a good point.
Because one person, one team created time for us to live by. Therefore, it
Mhm,
was infiltrated across everybody to use.
mhm,
Therefore, it controlled us, what we needed to do, where we needed to be, how we needed to act.
mhm,
Because then you are attaching time to a storyline. And if that storyline is not your storyline, inclusive of
mhm,
just you
mhm,
and everything around it, being on playing on media and all of those other spaces,
mhm,
then what is relevance of time? It is yet only a crutch so that makes sure
mhm,
that we are limited, that we do not
mhm,
step outside of time, that we do not step inside of time to
mhm.
understand what time is as a creation, given where it was inevitably going to be used as an overarching stem of existence.
So, does it mean that we are the prisoner of time?
Oh, we are the prisoner of their time. We
Mhm.
are the
No,
prisoner
no.
of time in its element of what we perceive it to be, until we realize that we are not we are not controlled by time. We are the
Mhm.
controller of time. And it
No,
is then
what I
only
meant.
upon ourselves. Yeah.
What I meant was that the time we are the prisoner. We are the prisoner of time. My comment is just a thought that I just had that the time that our existence here on Earth is very limited. From our perspective, look at my life. Look at your life. The time has passed. If you ask me, it's just a few seconds. And the time is going. The time we are going through, we are breathing right now, is the present, and the time is past, and we don't know the future, what's going to happen, and how much time we have got left. So aren't we the prisoner of time? The is time is surrounding is we cannot go this we cannot go outside of time.
Yeah, you can.
Mhm,
Yeah, you can. Well,
mhm,
it's how you perceive time.
mhm,
Yeah. It's how you give it credit for existing.
mhm,
Because you know that if you sit there for an hour or if you
mhm,
meditate for an hour, it's
mhm,
like you've had a 7 hour slumber.
mhm,
If you meditate right within an hour, it
mhm,
feels like you've slept for 7 hours, had a really
mhm,
great night's sleep. So then
mhm,
tell me where the equivalency of time is in the measure
mhm,
of tick tock, tick tock. It
mhm,
is the procedure of how we use time that we are the prisoner of.
mhm,
Because the procedure was that given to us of how to conform to the use of it, to manage it. But
mhm,
the inclusion of that idealism,
mhm,
that introduction of how to use time was concocted by those that illustrated time,
mhm,
those that enforced time. Therefore, we were never having an understanding of the truth. We never
mhm,
had any understanding of the relevance
mhm,
or the reason why time was implied upon us.
mhm,
So getting outside of the what has been learnt, what has been spoken about, what has been it's not even been for me anything in the measure of history is a complete concocted notion. There is nobody living here
mhm,
that lived during that time. In past lives, there are everybody here, but
mhm,
nobody's tapped into that past life to even argue the point, let alone agree with the point of what we are being educated within history.
mhm.
So everything, like today, I could say to this at the end of the day, right? At the end of this video, I could say it's the 25th of the 3rd, 2021.
Mm-hmm.
It's been a lovely video with Ahsan, and
Mm-hmm.
we'll do it next week. We've been
Mm-hmm.
doing it for 45 years,
Mm-hmm.
and we've been doing it for thousands of years previously.
Mm-hmm.
I'll see you next week.
Mm-hmm.
And then just leave it at that. People then have a measure. Oh, wow, these guys have been doing it for that long. Nobody
Mm-hmm.
checks it up,
Mm-hmm.
because the whole thing is conceited lies to maintain the existence of us being fragmented from a collective. So
Mm-hmm.
time is, for me, time is the major player in the manipulation of humanity,
Mm-hmm.
because they have such a stronghold on it. They tell us what time the news is going to come on the television. They tell us what time we have to go to work, what time shops are open, the freedom, the restrictions.
Mm-hmm. Yes. Yes,
Oh.
indeed. Yes, indeed. Time is a major player to control us, and time is we can, and I would love to go out this prison of time, and we all can agree to it that we want to go out of this circle of time, and I think we will find the answer of time, and how does time work. Whatever we have discussed, it is just we have just scratched the surface. There's so much more, and we have started our journey from time. Then we discussed the present time. That was my interesting and most thank you, thank you, Adrian, for explaining it to me that time is the present moment. Present is the breath we are taking, is the present moment, and we have added the element of consciousness and energy. Then we have discussed the prison of time, the constant, and the perception. And if you have any questions, just and I think it's been an hour where we were supposed to close down our discussion at the 40 minutes, but so thank you, Melissa. Thank
It's
you, the
okay.
guys.
Thank you
Uh,
everyone for watching, and thank you for allowing me to share my opinion, Asan.
yes, yes,
That's the shifting in which we do.
uh, it was very interesting, and we have just, I think, opened. We have just opened a Pandora box to of time and how does time work. And we have
Hmm.
discussed many interesting questions. And thank you guys for joining us. And if you have any questions, just leave it in the comment box below. I'll answer it to you. Edwin will get back to you
So will
as
I.
soon as he can. And thank you so much. And I'll see you
Thank
next week.
you.
And
Yes.
yeah,
Have
a
a
good
lovely
day.
day.
Yeah, have a lovely day. Good night, wherever you are.
Love you, my friend. Love you.
Right.
See you soon.
Yeah.
Bye bye.
Mhm.